Welcome back, friends. Welcome back to another lore reading. My name is Papa Tez. It's another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today we're going to be talking about Michinaki. And we're going to take a look into his story. Now, one question I want to ask you all, when you look at Michinaki, what faction do you feel like he should belong to? Hmm. You might find a few interesting things inside of here, which is very interesting to me because of the way that it was pointed out. So, to me, I think of three different factions: Shadowkin, Demon Spawn. When you look at his head, undead. Those are the three that come to my mind. What about you? What do you think? Well, let's get into the lore reading and see what we can find out about Michinaki. When the Mikage autocracy rose to power in Yakai, its mortal leaders made no secret of their allegiance to Siroth. Most worship him as the prime deity of their new kingdom, but some went a step further. They sought out the Shadow God himself and gave him their souls to become demon spawn. The warrior known as Michinaki was one such wretch, a skilled and deadly leader of the Mikage autocracy's armies. He showed no hesitation when confronted with the offer of demonhood. He gave his soul and his freedom to Siroth, not then imagining that an altogether different form of imprisonment awaited him. Michinaki led the autocracy's foremost army, the Legion of the Horned Skull, against the rebellion growing in Yakai. Many were his victories, and many were the traitors his forces slaughtered in battle, or in the pursuit that followed, or nailed to post on the side of roadway as a warning to others who would dare defy the Mikage. Still, however, the tide of the war turned slowly and irrevocably against the servants of Siroth. The legend of the Horned Skull's victories became ever more Pyrrhic, and the strength of the rebels grew as they learned how to fight the Mikage's army. Eventually, perhaps inevitably, Michinaki suffered defeat. A rebel force led by a Dawnland sorcerer known as Timo succeeded in ambushing the Legion of the Horned Skull. All of Michinaki's warriors were cut down in the bloodbath that followed, and Michinaki had every intention sharing their fate and being sent to Anathrod as a result. Timo, however, had other ideas. Knowing that holding one of the Mikage's foremost commanders prisoner would be a powerful sign of how far the rebellion had come, Timo had Michinaki bound in physical and magical iron fetters, which contained his physical strength and arcane power. The sorcerer, however, had been jaded by the long war and decided that captivity was too good for a monster such as Michinaki. He unleashed the full wrath of his sorcerer's power on him, torturing him as assuredly as Siroth tortured those who displeased him. The green fires that he summoned burned Michinaki's flesh from his warped bones and twisted him into an even more horrifying visage of pain and suffering. The arcane flames born out of dark magic burned Michinaki night and day, and his shrieks of pain echoed through the rebel camp as he was held in. He swore bloody vengeance on Timo, but the sorcerer laughed in his face. At last, it was the Mikage who suffered, and not the common folk of Yakai. Michinaki's torture may have continued indefinitely had not a gentler soul intervened. Fearing that Timo's actions had passed from being justified into excessive, the sorcerer's apprentice waited until the rest of the camp was asleep, then undid Michinaki's bounds. Surely the broken, smoldering creature had learned his error and was no threat to anyone? The opposite was true. As soon as the shackles were undone, Michinaki's power was unconstrained. He snapped the apprentice's neck and retrieved his sword before hacking a path through rebel soldiers to Timo's tent. Timo unleashed his magical fires at Michinaki, but found they no longer hurt the demon spawn. The flames, always rooted in dark magic, betrayed Timo, instead obeying Michinaki as their new master and enveloping him without causing harm. The demon spawn had passed through the inferno and emerged stronger. Michinaki beheaded Timo, bound the severed head in the chains that had once held him, and set it aflame with his new powers. After he defeated Timo, Michinaki fought his way from the camp and disappeared. Soon after, the Mikage autocracy fell, but the campaigns of one of its greatest generals were not over. Michinaki was filled with the need for revenge. Even more than before, he became known as a dire, cursed warrior, and he continued to hunt down and slay those who had defied the Mikage. Throughout it all, the demon spawn carried the head of Timo. Its silent, agonized expression showed that the sorcerer was somehow still conscious, forced to experience the pain he once wreaked upon Michinaki, and incapable of doing anything but watching the demon spawn wage war upon the people of Yakai and their dwarven and sylvan allies. Rumor has it that Michinaki no longer acts alone, much in the same way that the rebels of Yakai slowly gathered their strength before striking. So it is now claimed that Michinaki draws the cursed and the dispossessed to him, forming a corrupt force of demon spawn and mortal Mikage loyalists to rival his lost legion of the skull. If such tales are true, more than just Yakai should tremble in fear. Wow. That to me is an absolutely incredible story there with Michinaki. Wow. That explains so much. So when you take a look here, this is Timo's head. This is the sorcerer that he carries along with these chains that he was bound to. Of course, this sword being his weapon. But yeah, you see like all these chains that he was bound to. So he was locked pretty deeply, but he got unlocked from all these chains. And then he basically kept the chain, as you can see, around him. And these flames did now obey him completely. And this guy is, as a sorcerer, basically saying that, yeah, he's basically experiencing all the pain that was sent to Michinaki. That's kind of incredible. But hopefully, you guys enjoyed the lore reading. If you guys have any questions or just want to talk about it, feel free to like and subscribe and talk in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for being here for this, and I'll see you all in another video. Peace.